They laughed when the cowboy accepted the Apache Chief's forgotten daughter. To everyone else, she was a woman without a future, someone even her own people believed would never find a place in the world. But the cowboy saw something no one else could see. Days later, one unexpected act of courage uncovered a truth that changed two families forever and left an entire frontier community questioning everything they thought they knew about honor, love, and true worth. Stay with us until the end, because this remarkable journey will surprise you in ways you never expect. The morning sun cast a warm glow across the Wyoming frontier as Ethan Carter guided his horse along a winding trail through the foothills. Spring had arrived only a few weeks earlier, and the valley was beginning to come alive again. Wildflowers covered the open fields, streams rushed with fresh mountain water, and the air carried the scent of pine. Ethan was making his usual trip to deliver sacks of flour, coffee, and tools to families living near the mountains. Over the years, he had earned a reputation as a fair and dependable cowboy. He spoke little, kept his promises, and believed every person deserved to be treated with respect. By late afternoon, he reached an Apache village where he had traded supplies many times before. The villagers greeted him warmly, and children ran through the open grounds, laughing as they played beneath the tall cottonwood trees. The Apache chief welcomed Ethan into his lodge. "It has been too long, my friend," the chief said with a smile. "The trail has kept me busy," Ethan replied. "It is good to see everyone again." After sharing a simple meal, the chief became quiet. "There is something I wish to ask you." Ethan nodded, listening carefully. "My youngest daughter, Aiyana, has always been different from the others." The chief looked toward the doorway, where a young woman was helping an elderly woman carry a basket of firewood. "She spends her days caring for our elders, preparing meals for families in need, and helping our children learn. She asks for nothing in return." Ethan watched quietly. Aiyana moved with calm confidence. She greeted everyone with kindness, never expecting praise for her work. The chief sighed softly. "Many men have looked only at what she is not. They wanted someone loud, admired, or eager to stand at the center of every gathering. They never took the time to know her heart." Ethan frowned. "I do not understand how anyone could overlook someone like her." The chief smiled gently. "Few people see beyond what is in front of them." As the afternoon passed, Ethan spent time speaking with Aiyana. She spoke with quiet wisdom about family, hard work, and helping others without expecting recognition. She asked thoughtful questions about ranch life and listened with genuine interest as Ethan shared stories of the frontier. By sunset, Ethan had reached his decision. He stood before the chief. "If Aiyana is willing, I would be honored to build a life with her." The chief looked at his daughter. Aiyana met Ethan's eyes, surprised by his words. After a moment of quiet reflection, she smiled. "I will gladly walk that path with you." News of Ethan's decision spread quickly through the village. Some people smiled with happiness. Others whispered in surprise, wondering why a respected cowboy would choose the chief's quiet daughter when so many others had passed her by. The following morning, Ethan and Aiyana began their journey toward his ranch. As the mountains faded behind them and the open frontier stretched ahead, neither of them knew that one simple decision would soon change not only their own lives, but the lives of everyone around them. The journey to Ethan's ranch took 2 peaceful days. As they crossed rolling hills and wide grasslands, Ethan pointed out familiar landmarks along the trail. He spoke about the changing seasons, the cattle that grazed across the valley, and the neighbors who often gathered to help one another during difficult times. Aiyana listened with quiet interest. Everything around her was new, yet she welcomed each sight with curiosity instead of fear. When they finally arrived at the ranch, the workers stopped what they were doing to watch. No one expected Ethan to return with the Apache chief's daughter. Some greeted her politely, while others exchanged uncertain glances. One ranch hand whispered, "Do you really think she belongs here?" Another shrugged. "We will see." Ethan heard the remarks but chose not to respond. Instead, he introduced Aiyana with simple respect. "This is my wife. She deserves the same kindness that every person on this ranch receives." The workers nodded, though not everyone looked convinced. The following morning, Aiyana rose before sunrise. She quietly prepared breakfast for the ranch hands, filling the kitchen with the smell of fresh bread, warm biscuits, and hearty stew. By the time everyone gathered around the table, the meal was ready. Most thanked her politely. A few barely looked up from their plates. Aiyana never seemed offended. After breakfast, she noticed an older ranch hand struggling to lift heavy feed sacks into the storage room. Without saying a word, she stepped beside him and helped organize the supplies so they could be moved more easily. The old man smiled. "You have a good eye for solving problems. My father always taught me to make difficult work simpler whenever possible," she replied. As the days passed, Aiyana found more ways to help. She organized the pantry so nothing would be wasted. She cared for an injured colt that had refused food for several days. With patience and gentle attention, the young horse slowly regained its strength. She repaired worn blankets instead of throwing them away. She planted a small kitchen garden beside the ranch house, explaining that fresh herbs would improve meals throughout the summer. Even the ranch cook admitted she had never thought of growing so much in such a small space. Ethan quietly watched these changes. He noticed that the ranch was becoming more organized, the workers seemed less burdened, and even the animals appeared calmer. One evening, the oldest ranch hand sat beside Ethan on the porch. "You made the right choice," he said. Ethan smiled. "I knew that the day I met her." The older man nodded thoughtfully. "The others will see it too." Across the yard, Aiyana laughed softly as she showed two young ranch workers how to prepare vegetables from the new garden. For the first time since arriving, the distance between her and the people around her had begun to fade. Without asking for recognition, she was slowly earning something far more valuable: their trust. Several weeks later, dark clouds gathered over the valley. Days of steady rain caused the nearby river to rise higher than anyone had seen in years. The peaceful stream soon became a fast-moving current that threatened nearby ranches and farms. Neighbors began arriving at Ethan's ranch, asking for help. Families hurried to move their animals and belongings to higher ground before the water reached their homes. While many people rushed from one task to another, Aiyana remained calm. She quietly organized blankets, food, drinking water, and dry clothing for the families arriving at the ranch. She asked the ranch hands to prepare empty stalls for frightened horses and cattle that had been rescued from flooded pastures. As Ethan worked with the men outside, Aiyana remembered an old trail her father had shown her years ago. The narrow path climbed along a rocky hillside and stayed well above the river even during heavy rain. She quickly shared the route with Ethan. "It will take longer," she said, "but it is safe." Trusting her judgment, Ethan guided several families along the higher trail. They reached safety without losing a single wagon or animal. By evening, the rain finally began to ease. The neighbors gathered inside the ranch house, grateful for the warm meal Aiyana had prepared. One ranch hand looked at her with a smile. "I used to believe Ethan made a mistake." He lowered his head respectfully. "Now I know he saw something the rest of us failed to see." Ethan looked across the room at Aiyana as she quietly served food to the tired families. She asked for no praise and expected no reward. Yet everyone present understood the same truth. The woman many had once overlooked had become the steady heart of the ranch, and her kindness had brought hope when it was needed most. As summer settled across the frontier, the Apache Chief came to visit Ethan's ranch. The ranch hands welcomed him warmly, remembering how Aiyana had helped every family during the flood. After sharing a meal together, the chief gathered everyone beneath the shade of a large oak tree. "There is something I have wanted to tell you," he began. "When Aiyana was young, many believed she was too quiet. They measured strength by loud voices and great displays. But our elders always taught that the strongest people are often the ones who serve others without asking for recognition." He looked proudly at his daughter. "I never believed she was forgotten. I simply waited for someone wise enough to see her true heart." Ethan smiled. "That is exactly what I saw the first day we met." The ranch hands exchanged thoughtful glances. One by one, they admitted they had judged Aiyana before taking the time to know her. "We were wrong," the oldest ranch hand said. "Your kindness has taught us more than words ever could." Aiyana accepted their apology with a gentle smile. "What matters most is not how we begin," she said softly. "It is how we choose to treat one another from this day forward." Her words stayed with everyone long after the conversation had ended. As the seasons passed, the friendship between Ethan's ranch and the Apache village grew stronger than ever. Families gathered to share harvests, celebrate together, and help one another whenever challenges arose. Aiyana became known across the frontier, not as the Apache Chief's forgotten daughter, but as a woman whose kindness and wisdom united people from different walks of life. One evening, Ethan and Aiyana stood together on a hill overlooking the Golden Valley as the sun disappeared behind the distant mountains. Ethan smiled and gently took her hand. "The greatest treasure I ever found was not hidden in the mountains," he said. "It was the day I found you." Aiyana smiled back, knowing that true worth is never measured by first impressions, but by the kindness, courage, and love a person shares with the world. As the sun set over the endless frontier, Ethan and Aiyana's story became a reminder that the greatest treasures in life are not found through wealth or appearance, but through kindness, compassion, and the courage to see the good in others. One thoughtful decision changed not only their lives but also brought two communities together in friendship and mutual respect. Thank you for watching this heartfelt cowboy and Apache story. If you enjoyed this journey, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring Western frontier stories filled with hope, courage, unforgettable adventures, and meaningful life lessons. Share this story with your friends and family to remind them that every person deserves to be valued for their character, not judged by first impressions. Finally, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever seen someone underestimated who later proved everyone wrong? Share your story below. We read every comment and truly enjoy hearing your experiences. Until next time, thank you for being part of our frontier family, and may kindness, respect, and hope always guide your path.